Day. So it's an important day.
Which is funny because I'm the only one that's not a published author here.
Well, because you're always doing other people's stuff, you know.
I mean, law review, if law review counts, but
yeah,
I don't count that.
So definitely want to welcome everybody to the Backpack Show. It is a new day, a new dawn. Listen, this show is all about this kind of stuff, ideas and insights for life and work. We chat with folks live. Today, we've got authors. We've got Kathy Buckworth, my friend, Len Joy, my soon-to-be friend. If you want to grab the newsletter, it's at backpackshow.substack.com, and you can add something to the backpack, which is what we'll do at the end of the episode. We will ask our guests, hey, what will you add to the backpack to make the next 5 years most important? And bear in mind, the show does end abruptly. One last thing to please the sponsors. Streamyard are my sponsors. You can go to cbrogan.me/StreamYard to get your own show. It's pretty easy. There's a freebie. Don't use the freebie for too long. Use my link and buy the good one because you get a lot more details out of it. That's an important thing.
Scott says he's not a published author either. Thank you, Scott, for making me feel better about my life choices.
Just catching up.
I'm on.
Do you have a book in you?
I don't know. Does anybody? Who knows?
Backpack Show.
My favorite thing to do when you cut me off with the intro is to take a drink, because normally you'd put me out in front when I take a drink of coffee or something, but you can't.
So you're like guaranteed like a 20-second amnesty window.
Yes, that's it. I was going to say what chapter 13 of Len Joy's book, Better Days, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm excited. So Kathy Buckworth is an award-winning parenting author of several books. She's an expert. She's the one that goes on the news and tells you, which way you're supposed to put your kids down to sleep now, that kind of stuff. And Len is a fiction writer. So I'm very excited to have them both here today because they're very different sides of the writing equation. And you're a business author, so we've got everything.
We've got it all covered.
Got it all.
So, Kathy, is the answer to that question? I mean, you were just on 2 other real live people news shows today. Is the answer to how to make them sleep better? Are tasers now in? Is that okay? You're here. You're live, Kathy.
She thought you were serious.
Oh, I think
Kathy might have froze.
You froze her.
Well, how about we bring Len first and let Kathy come back?
Oh, now she's back alive and well. She froze for a second.
Oh.
And again. All right. Let's try some tech stuff because I guess maybe we forgot the detail of if you have a whole lot of other apps open, close them all. Otherwise, you will keep freezing because we're losing you.
It's live TV.
Yeah.
Carol says I figured you out. I don't know how she knows, but she's not wrong.
All right. Let's try a third time. Third time's a charm.
Abby.
Okay.
Oh, no. It's got to be the... Kathy might be on her phone or something. Possibly.
Oh, I wouldn't expect. She's like super pro.
Well,
all right, we're doing this. We're throwing Len Joy on until we figure that out. Maybe Carrie, you can drop a line. And hi, Len.
Hi.
It's like a thriller being on this show sometimes.
You just never know what's going to happen.
You're not going to ask me how to control my kids, are you?
No, not at all. You can control other people's kids. Our pal, Coach Scott Woodard, is here. And Scott always asks the kind of question about how you get started. But I mean, you had 2 other careers before you started doing this. What made you feel confident to make the jump?
I don't think I did feel really confident. What I was doing for years was commuting back and forth between Phoenix and Chicago. When my company was in Phoenix, my wife's an attorney. She had a good job. We decided we didn't want to risk everything and move to Phoenix and have her lose her job. So I thought it would be for a couple of years. It ended up being for almost 18 years that would fly back and forth. So anybody's made that flight from Phoenix to Chicago, it's a nice flight. It's 3 hours and it's plenty of time to read and do other stuff. And, I would just read books. I'd always wanted to be a writer, but I got sort of crushed early in my, in college, some professor didn't like my paper and I was a young kid and sensitive. And so I gave that up. But during those long times, I just started thinking about it. And as I was winding the business down in 2003, I got a circular from the University of Chicago, creative writing. I said, I'll give it a try. So just for sort of a whimsical choice, but I took a class, I liked it. So I took a few more, and I never thought about being a novelist. I really just thought I wanted to be a writer. written these Christmas letters for years, and that's the one kind of writing other than asking people for money that I, that was really rewarding. People liked them. I'd make fun of my kids and stuff, and it was, I enjoyed that. So
if that's all it takes,
took a
Len, I
shot
could be
at
a best-selling author like today.
Yeah.
Making fun of your kids. I got this.
Yeah, I mean, it was really easy when they couldn't read. It got harder after they started being critical of what I had to say. But it was just really a step at a time. And it's like, it's been almost another 15 years since I've been aspiring writer. I keep saying, like we keep working at this. I've enjoyed it. It's just after being in business for a long time, and it's a different kind of rejection sometimes, but it's the risk to me is not as great as when I had a company, a lot of employees, and people that would let their lives were dependent on what we did. So I
Now the
enjoy this
stakes are
opportunity
different.
to just be on my own.
Carol says teachers can have a huge impact for better, for worse. That's absolutely true. But you'd always dreamed of being a writer, even way, way back when, being a world famous writer, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That was, went off to school, and I thought, my fantasy was I'd be a football player and an author. It seemed like a nice life, and that football was definitely a fantasy. And it was a real life lesson for me. That you're right, with a teacher. I'm looking back with a lot of experience now. His comments, this guy gave me just sort of ripped my term paper, and I said, I'm in the wrong field. I'm not good enough. And I was just 18. It wasn't tough.
Self-assured enough.
Sure. But I learned a lot from that. At least I remembered, like when I started taking workshops, and you get that's the nice thing about writing and you get a big, you can get from 18 to 70, and I learned that it's really important to be positive in your comments, and because it's really easy to crush someone's confidence, especially when they're young.
Well, one of the things, that's absolutely true. One of the things that Chris likes to do on this show is he called the 90-degree segue, where he jumps from one topic to another. I'm bringing it up because you jumped from one whole career to another. Like, you ran an engine remanufacturing plant for years. Then you retire from that and you become a writer and a triathlete, like a nationally ranked competing triathlete. Not like, I think I'll do this on the weekends.
Yeah, I think I always talk about this, like I started them both about the same time. I was basically a good average athlete in a lot of sports, not elite in anything. So I had this naive notion that, I can sort of swim and bike and run, that, I can put them all together. Maybe I'll be above average. But, I found there's a lot of guys out there that are really good athletes at all age groups. But, training is a good discipline. They complemented each other, because there's a lot of things that are similar about them. You got to work at it every day, and it does require professional training. Like I have a trainer I've had for Heather Collins for almost 10 years, and it makes a big difference. I think how to run and how to bike and swim, and you find out there's a lot to learn. And it's the same with writing. So I've enjoyed the the complementarity. You go out for a long run, I can think about dialogue and plot, and it's better than just staring at your laptop all the time and trying to come up with something.
Much as we are right now.
Right, definitely.
Cool beans. Len, I have a question about it all. You chose different topics for your books. I mean, some trend towards war, some towards sports, some towards, family kind of slice of life, but a little darker. They always say write about what you know, but they also, in the marketing side of things, in fiction specifically, they kind of want you to pick a lane. How are you feeling about that? And what do you think of that advice?
I think that for me, I am sort of in a lane. I mean, mostly I focus on, I came up with this, I guess, as you go into workshops and people are writing about, a lot of people write about being a law professor or a professor or something. Mine all have a sports theme. I think that if I'm not very good at themes, but I think the idea of, I like to write about what happens to people after the cheering stops. You see the Olympics and you see those guys and they didn't quite make it. Well, we also think about there's thousands of guys that didn't make it to the Olympics. There's a lot of great athletes out there. And, like my first novel, American Pastime, is about a minor league pitcher who he pitches a perfect game on the cusp of being called up to the majors. And but that act ruins, it injures his arm. He never makes it. So like that perfect game was his crowning achievement of his life, and then his life unravels over 20 years, and it's a story of redemption. But it's I found that those issues are just sort of behind the scenes, or what these people have lives after all the cheering has stopped.
That's a theme in Better Days as well, Len. I'm about, 13 chapters in or so, and this person who's working a management job, probably a lot like the one you had initially in your career, his sort of life achievement for which he's known in the community is a basketball game in high school, like for winning or throwing the winning shot in a basketball game in high school, and that's still his claim to fame after all this time.
Yeah, I mean, I liked this. That never happened to me. I always wished it did, but I played for a basketball team that was 1-17 2 years in a row. So
I ran cross country. I was like, any sport I can do by myself, I would give it a whirl.
1-17. That's a rocker. I'm kind of surprised that I never really saw you, pick up pro leagues at that.
It can be really demoralizing, I tell you.
There's a whole conversation happening, Chris, in the comments about
I've been seeing it. How
inspiration from parents and teachers, and I love that's actually watching the conversations unfold. Len, is one of the best parts of the show. But so you're inspiring people. Maybe we've got more budding writers out there today.
I hope so. I found it was. I think one of the things that helps doing it later in life, is that there's not the pressure to make a living at it, because it's a real difficult occupation to make a living at. But it's very rewarding in a lot of ways. Just the chance to create something. I love making up stories. So this way, people will listen to them a little bit.
Well, I'm a lawyer. We like making up stories too. It's just not encouraged.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Len, one of the things that you're thematically talking, it's funny when you said not so good at themes. I was the worst. I was, professionally, in school and things like that. They'd be like, what's the theme of this book? And I would always get it wrong every time, 100% of the time. So the fact that I, became an author, thank goodness for business books, is laughable. But one thing I was thinking about is your themes are that, encouragement matters, coaching matters. Coach Scott Woodard's here, and he coaches teams of all types, including a lot of sports teams and all that. What's the value of coaching for writing? Did you get a lot of that? And how does that translate to how you see that experience as well?
Oh, I think for at least, there's probably a few people that are just extremely gifted that don't need instruction or anything. But I think for 99% of us, it's like any other occupation or sport. You need someone to teach you the fundamentals. And I think I was really fortunate in the courses. Just by dumb luck, the courses I took. I went to the Iowa Writers Festival, not the workshop, but just something that's available for everyone. I had excellent. I met Sandra Schofield in Sands Hall there, and one of the things that the first things we learned was, okay, write a story in 300 words. Not 301 or 310. You had to make it, come out in 300 words. And that really was a great discipline. I mean, it worked well for me because I write pretty lean, but making every word count. And that, that kind of a starting point of just, like how to work on your craft and not be thinking about, well, some people have a story they just want to tell, but I wanted to be a writer. And if you want to be a writer, you've got to pay the dues. You got to learn, take the classes, the base classes, the advanced classes. And it's a never ending. It's like, I liken it to like my swimming, it's like, I think I know how to swim. Every time I think I've fixed something, she comes up with something more that I need to work on. And, so there's a lot of opportunity for improvement.
Chloe asks an illegal question. Do you have a favorite book you've written?
No, they're like my children, I can't pick favorites, but I do. I am really pleased that you're reading Better Days, because it's my first book is the book that I'm, just published. Everyone Dies Famous it's not a sequel, but it uses the same characters as American Pastime. It takes place 30 years after that story. So I get to take the characters from being young to not so young.
Well, one of your books involves a tornado, and I was like, nope, because my town had a tornado in March, and I'm like, I know, I'll skip that one. I'll try the basketball one.
It's just a theme.
Yeah.
Coach Scott Woodard says, do you treat writing like a job? Do you show up every day and write for 8 hours or so, or do you write when the spirit moves you?
No, my workday, and I have to say, this is terrible. This pandemic, it probably affects someone like me a lot less than anybody else. I mean, my work, I get up, like today, I got up like 4:45, and I go out and I run with my coach for 5 miles. And we come back, and then normally I would, after walking my dog, I'd spend usually 3 or 4 hours, working on writing. I have a liberal interpretation of what I'd consider writing. I mean, sometimes I'd like to read other people's work and review it. So I'd count that as part of it. But yeah, every day, even, now, like, it's sort of losing track of the weekends, and try to do, something through, even on the weekends, but usually wrap it up about 3:30 or 4, and like to have happy hour with myself. Yeah.
Cool. We have one last question.
Writers, not writers.
Before we, writers are the best procrastinators I know. Writers have most clean laundry than anybody I know. I'm going to ask one last question on behalf of Chloe, and then I'm going to wish you well and put you backstage for a minute. Do you enjoy reading books as much as you enjoy writing them?
Well, I enjoy reading them, and writing isn't always enjoyable. So yeah, I try to. I've been focused a lot on people that sort of in the same grouping. I consider myself like just coming out with their first and second novels. I really try to support them, but yeah, I like to read. I'm a serial magazine subscriber, so I have, like, there's such a great value. But like over there's a stack of like 50 New Yorkers because I have trouble throwing them out. But I know there's never going to be a time when I'm going to catch up. But yeah, I love to read.
That's so interesting, Len, that you say writing is not always enjoyable, because this is what you wanted to do your whole life. This was your dream. And then you get there and you're like, some days I just don't want to.
Some days it's like any work is not always fun.
Chloe wants to know what advice you'd give someone who loves to write but is terrible at it. First of all, I'd ask why you think you're terrible at it, because maybe the person who said that doesn't know what they're talking about. But Len.
That's a good answer. I mean, I think if you love it, I mean, there's so many opportunities now. Like in Exotrope is one of these online communities where you can write short stories and share them with people, and you can get better. I mean, it's like most everybody, I think, like in anything, can, if they work at it and if they have some passion for it, I think they'll improve, and that's fun in itself.
Beautiful thing. Len Joy, thank you so much for being part of the Backpack Show today. It's been great having you on. Stick around.
Please don't go away.
I won't.
Stick around. All right. So listen, a few things.
Comments to go through. Fazia Burke is here. Fazia does an amazing job representing writers, actually. So the fact that she thinks that this is great, it's very good news.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's one of the things she's got a whole book about it, about how to promote yourself.
That's
as
the
a writer.
PS to Sweetie's other message, which was thanks for bringing on Len and Carrie and what a gift they are. And she goes, "You're all right too."
I'm a gift.
And Judy says, "Your books are great, Len. Keep it up." Look at that, Judy.
She's not wrong. No,
she's in your top 36 fans,
very
just in case
engaging.
you did not know that.
No.
And we are gonna risk the biscuit. First off, I'm gonna do a couple quick things. I'm gonna push some buttons just in case, and kind of in case everything goes wrong again. But look, sponsored Streamyard. Love some Streamyard. cbrogan.me/Streamyard. You can make your own show like this with no technical errors. The technical errors come completely free of charge. You don't have to have them if you don't want them.
Stop it.
cbrogan.me/Streamyard.
All the juicy technology, displaying comments, having banners, doing things that remind Chris that he's saying things perhaps he shouldn't say. Those are all Streamyard technology.
I know it. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? So I decided to have a person of the day. So it's going to be Fazia, because I don't know her yet. So she seems nice. She could be our person of the day.
Fazia Burke is a very good choice. She knows a lot about so we have aspirational writers here with us listening and watching now. She would be a very, very good person for those writers to know.
At this point, I'm an aspirational writer. But Kathy Buckworth's going to set me straight as long as we can keep everything running. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you all the way from Canada. So hopefully we can keep this going. Yes. Okay. So let's try again.
All right. I'm going to order like a triple and a Timbit, and we're going to get rolling. No one even goes there anymore, do they? They're so mad at the Americans for taking
I was going to say they took Tim Hortons from us. So yeah, we don't go there anymore.
And it's not the same.
Sorry.
It's not the same.
It's not
No,
the
we always add more sugar. Like everything needs more sugar. The American way.
So what
Pour
we were
it
saying the
on.
last time that we lost you was that
Yeah.
you were all doing like grown-up stuff and actually talking to like real people before you talked to us, which was cool. And I asked, is it okay to use tasers to help kids fall asleep?
I would say no. This is my professional advice. I would say no. Yeah, that's right. We're talking a lot about that's the type of book that I've written, right? The 6 books that I've written.
Don't tase your kid.
Don't tase your kid as a main message you want to take away from those. And you know what? My kids are 18, 21, 27, and 29, and no one's been incarcerated yet. So
No one's been tased.
Nobody's been tased or incarcerated. So winning.
You know, when you look at the titles, it's pretty clear the tone, but I wonder if people are still surprised. So they'll pick up a book like I Am So the Boss of You, and then they say, how come this book isn't like sweet and saccharine? Does that happen to you still ever? Like, or is it just so well known at this point?
I think sometimes like last one is called I'm So the Boss of You. And it's sort of, giving your kids the business, so to speak. So it's applying business principles to running your family. So that one people they laugh because every parent has heard from their kids, I'm the boss of you, you're not the boss of me. But one of the ones I get a lot of feedback on is called Shut Up and Eat. And it's really about just logistically feeding your children, and you don't have to like make like little trains out of your sandwiches and make sure it's all, nutritionally correct all the time. And I get a lot of feedback from that because people say, I can't have your book in my house because shut up is a bad word. I'm like, you're a loser. Sorry, shut up is not a bad word. Like shut up, like it is if you think it is. How's that? But it's like sometimes you just got to shut up. Sorry. Like, I can think of worse words.
I did a parenting podcast years ago, and people would say that I was, snarky and potty mouth and whatever. I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'm not your cup of tea. There's like a gazillion other podcasts you can listen to.
That's right.
And I sent them the link to Disney.
Yeah, seriously. And I don't swear ever online. I do swear.
Potty mouth was like very liberally interpreted.
I was going to say, I swear in my real life sometimes, but my kids, when they were young, they weren't allowed to. And they'd say, how come you can swear? And I'm like, how come I can drink and you can't? I don't know. That's just the rules. I don't make them up.
Because I earn the money. Y'all I don't earn nothing. Shiftless.
Exactly.
I'll say what I want.
Exactly right.
So over the years, you have to start thinking, boy, there's only so much you could talk about with regards to parenting. I mean, when you're going through it, when you're in the throes of the little ones and all that, you have one kind of thing you can cover. As they get a little older, like, helping my kids date better and all that sort of stuff. When you run out of runway, what's the career advice? Do you stay in the parenting lane, or what do you do? What's your plan?
That's a great question. So yeah, my kids are older now. So the last book I wrote, which was I Am So the Boss of You, it was about 5 or 6 years ago. So the kids are probably
Kathy breaking up for you?
Oh, she's gone for me. She's just looking off into space again.
Yeah, I'm gonna take her out and put her back when she looks not frozen again.
Yeah, let's see it. Did you want to build a snowman?
Well, no, she's okay. Let's try again.
Can you guys? I can hear and see you fine, actually, but nothing there, right? I'm so sorry.
Nope. That's okay.
You're there.
Well, she's there-ish, unless it's like every 25 frames.
Oh shoot! I don't know what else. You can hear me. I don't know what else to suggest in terms of
talk fast. Be funny and say your most important thing now.
Okay. So yeah, you know what? There's always, as a parent, you're never not a parent. I think a lot of people, when the kids get older, I'm actually a new grandma. So now that's a whole other about material, But I'm actually finished sort of writing parenting books for now. And I've been working lately on novels. So I finished my first novel. It's with my agent. Nothing yet. We'll see what happens. And then I'm 90% finished on the next one. So I'm taking a bit of a career change, but we all change our career all the way along. So, the parenting journey shouldn't be any different than that. So when I first started writing, I was on maternity leave, which we get a year off here in Canada. So I wrote my first book in 20 minutes a day because I had 4 children, 10 and under, when I wrote my first book. So we all find a way to do what we want to do. And, we're in charge of our own journey. The spend I one, Chris.
There should be an award just for that, for writing a book when you have 4 kids under the age of 10.
Hey, we had missed having Sweetie Berry around. She is our official comment novelist.
Check this out. Check it out. Like now it's like no one can see Kathy.
I'm going to read that off screen. Mohit's here for you, by the way. You dragged the fans, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's lovely. Yes.
So, listen, we've got Kathy saying, let's see, our services work with systems and strategies for the transitions Yet I'm so cognizant of how people simply need resources to feel like they're part of the community and not alone in the fight. So I think she's just saying it's better when you don't feel so alone.
Oh, no doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, my oldest daughter is 29, and when I had her, I really was the only one up at 3 a.m. There was no as new motherhood, etc. So, I feel probably went through this great transition of moms being able to communicate all the time online, and now we're in the space where that's the only way moms can communicate right now, since we can't all get together. So, thank goodness we're going through this with the ability to connect online with other moms, because no one knows what you're going through except someone who's going through the same thing. Makes sense, right?
Nope. No matter how supportive dads are, there's certain things they've never experienced, like why it's so ouchy when you breastfeed sometimes, that kind of thing. They just don't get it.
I've got nothing on that one. No details, no experience.
So I was able to hear, I know I tech crowds, I was able to hear a little bit of what Len was saying in terms of, always learning. And I just wanted to build on that a little bit too for writers. In some of the ways that I got started, we're really looking for writing contests because it gave you a deadline and often gave you a theme, actually, some writing contests. And so that would really sort of inspire you to get started if you wanted to start writing. Courses are great. Once you've written something, don't just read it out loud to yourself, like send it out to a reading group.
A reading group. Oh man.
That I did. I sent it out to 5 people, someone in the book business, someone who would really tell me if I sucked. Like, you need that person in your group. My grown daughter, who would also tell me if I really sucked. But I wrote a book, my first novel's about the mom blogging business. So I sent it to someone that I know very well in the mom blogging business to say, do any of these characters really sound like real people? Because I don't want to offend anyone overtly. So, a writing group for me was absolutely key in terms of getting feedback on a large piece of writing. I think you need to do that.
Sure that you're not frozen.
Not frozen. You're safe, I think. I don't know. If you're frozen, is the best pausing smile ever.
That's kind of well, people are loving this. So avoiding the yellow card potential. Chip says, thank you, Chris.
I've been biting. My tongue is so sore now.
I know, and I was really trying. Sweetie
good.
wants to know what motivates Kathy after the book comes out and how many ways you're sharing or next steps kind of after people love the books. Kate wants you to define overtly. No.
We got nothing. Right. I'm pushing it. That's great. You know what? Sometimes we have
get Len back.
At least once we've had a technical flaw, including today. So, hi, Len.
Hi.
Kathy Buckworth, ladies and gentlemen, kathybuckworth.com. You can get all her books on all of the places that fine books are sold. Please go to your independent bookstores because there's so much out there that's necessary to do.
But Len, we have a question for you.
Yeah.
About what people need in their metaphorical backpack of life to succeed. So first, Chris, why don't you explain what the backpack's all about?
Yeah. So imagine in this world of ours right now, Len, that, everything is so uncertain. We're building on sand at all directions. So, there's nothing permanent. We can't carry everything with us, obviously, because it's just so much going on. So we can only have a backpack. This is a metaphorical backpack, but you put into it whatever you think someone's going to need for better success in the next 5 years. So some people have said empathy. Some people have said pride. Some people have said humility. There's a lot of various types of offers out there. Len, what do you think you could add to the backpack?
I think it's a sense of humor, or maybe a variation of that, a sense of perspective, but just, the idea of, I think it comes with having, a lot of life experiences that, you just can't take yourself too seriously. And, there's a lot of people are so easily offended. It's like, you just have to, I would like everyone to lighten up, I guess. And I think a sense of humor can carry a long ways.
I think that's a beautiful answer. I think we might have the chance to try one last time to get Toronto back in the box.
I didn't realize that they closed the technology borders as well, So we'll try this.
That's it. They don't want any parenting advice here. Didn't you know?
Forget it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, hopefully
we
this
got
will
this.
Better.
So hopefully you heard what the backpack's about. The backpack concept is just that, everything is so uncertain. We're not building on solid ground. You have a small amount of things that you can carry with you. What's one metaphorical thing you can add to the backpack?
One metaphorical thing I can add to the back. Well, I don't know if this is the sort of the thing that you mean, but you only have today, right? So like, again, with the 20 minutes a day of writing, you only have today. Put that in your backpack. You've got a planner in your backpack and it says today. It doesn't say a month from now. It doesn't say 5 years from now. So get done what you need to get done today. I'm definitely a first, what you do, the things that need to be doing first, and drop everything else to the bottom of the list, because especially right now during this, we don't even know what tomorrow looks like, right? So today is today. Do it.
Put another way, Chris, your day is your week, is your month, is your year.
That's what some people have said before. I've heard that one.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
yeah, exactly.
We made it through. Somehow we made it through the wilderness. I didn't know how lost I was until I saw this, but it's all good and we made it happen. So listen, thank you so much, Kathy Buckworth, Len Joy. Thanks for being part of the show. So glad that we had you on. And with that,